pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands one nation under God, indivisible. Okay, in recognition, this is to advise those present at this meeting of the Board of Education of Pinelands Regional School District in the County of Ocean. The adequate notice of this meeting was provided in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act. The notice has been posted in the Board of Education office, junior high school, and high school buildings. The notice was also mailed to the Press of Atlantic City and filed with the municipal clerk of Bass River Township, Eagleswood Township, Little Egg Harbor Township, and the Borough of Tuckerton. May I have a roll call?
Mrs. McBag,
Here.
Mr. Rossetti, marked absent. Mr. Bonnicky, marked absent. Ms. Pankakua,
Yes.
Ms. Palladino, be marked absent. Ms. Hannadel, be marked absent. Mr. Bartlett. Here. Mr. Dalio.
Here.
Have four.
Thank you. Moving on to.
Oh, Ms.
Oh,
Martin.
you saw Ms. Martin.
I skipped over you.
Moving on to approval of the agenda. Approval of September 14, 2021 agenda. May I have a motion?
So, second.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
All in favor of approving the agenda as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? The motion carries.
Approval of the minutes, approval of open session, regular session, August 17, 2021, and closed session, executive session, August 17, 2021. Can I have a motion, please?
So made.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
All in favor of approving the minutes on tonight's agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions?
I will abstain.
Motion carries.
Okay.
Can I ask, just backtrack, who was the first and second on the approval of the agenda?
Ray was first, I was second.
Thank you, my apologies.
Good to move on?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Report of the superintendent.
Thank you. I do have a few items this evening. First, good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. The opening of school went very well. We're so happy to see everyone back, especially all the students in the building. Ms. Frask and I have been around numerous times, touching base with teachers, with the staff members, with the students, and we're just so happy to have everybody back in the schools. Enrollment is up, and we're pleased about that as well. I'd like to dispel some rumors that have been surfacing about air conditioning and our buildings. I did send an email out, which was verbatim of the governor's order, stating that if there was not air conditioning in areas, or if things were extremely humid because air conditioning wasn't working up to par, then someone can use their discretion and remove their masks. They're also allowed to do that during lunch and while they're having aerobic activity in the gym. As I said, I sent an email to staff that was verbatim of the governor's order. At no point did I say our air conditioning was not working. So I'm not sure where that surfaced from. I also have heard that we were removing air conditioning units from the high school roof. That is not accurate. And I would hope that when there are such questions or things are concerning from parents, that they go to the source. I know that Mr. Balone did not get any phone calls. Mr. Stranahan did not get any phone calls. I did not, or emails. Mr. Henderson, Mr. Shore, none of us heard about air conditioning, but I just want to dispel that rumor that, those are not, it's not accurate information surfacing. Mr. Henderson and I are working on a job fair that we would like to have local businesses set up tables in the Commons one day during the lunch period, such as Viking, Charlie's Auto Body, maybe Mr. Bartlett's business, something like that, where students that maybe are not interested in going to college after high school or don't have plans for a military career could visit some of our local businesses and see what opportunities there are. So after they have the opportunity to meet with those businesses during their lunch period, if there's further interest, we'd like to set up a time where those students that sign up could actually go and visit those businesses. So you take a bus with, either the guidance department or Mr. Henderson or Mr. Shore, whoever wants to take them around, just to get to see some of those trades. I know when I come to work every day, I pass Viking and there's a big sign outside that says welders wanted. So obviously there's a need. So I'd like to see if we can partner up with our local businesses and have that opportunity for our students. So it's just at the interest level right now, and I'm working with Mr. Henderson to put that together. So more information will be forthcoming. As per one of the goals that I've established this year, we're going to get feedback from students in the buildings on what they like about our schools, what things are we not providing that they would like. So I did put together a very brief survey. Ms. Kenny has been wonderful getting that out to English classes, and the students have been participating in that survey. After those results are tabulated, I will share those with the board and see what things we can add to our offerings that we're not right now, or what things we're doing well. So I'm also gonna be getting to that student panel I described, where it's not necessarily your student council that always gets involved and is representative of the classes, but it's maybe kids that are, in the trades or, have other interests. And we're going to create a panel and ask them certain questions and have the faculty listen to their answers as we have that event take place. So more information will be coming on that. We held our first new teacher meeting with all of the new staff, and they're absolutely phenomenal. We had to cancel this week's because there was a faculty meeting because of testing, but I held the first one last week. Mr. Shore came and his assistant principal, Ms. Thurber, and we got to meet and talk with all the new staff, and they're just amazing, and we're so happy that they're here. Back to school night is next week. So if that's something that you want to participate in, if you don't have kids here, you're welcome to do that. We had no questions on the Q&A on our website, so I'm not going to refer to any of those. And I believe that's all I have for right now.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chloe. I do see on the presentations highlighted. Do we have any special?
Yes, we do. I'm going to let Ms. Kenny go first.
Going to walk over here so that everyone can take a look. And so good evening. My name is Karen Kenny. I'm the Director of Student Services at Pinelands. On behalf of the Pinelands Regional Board of Education, our staff, our students, and our community, we are here to honor 3 amazing nurses in our district. It has been a very challenging time during COVID, and I can't tell you the hours that these 3 young ladies have worked. They've been available for consultation in the evening and on the weekends for our students, our staff, and our families for questions and support. They are empathetic, compassionate, and respectful always. This door is always open in our nurse's office, and it's just an honor to be part of their team and to see the efforts that they put forth to our students. They've provided our students and families ongoing support, and I'm going to call each of them up for their award of excellence. So our first nurse I'm going to call up is Nurse Emily Baker, and she is class of 2009. Please join me in recognizing her outstanding efforts. Our second nurse is class of 2007 at Pinelands, very proud, Ms. Caitlin Welsh. And our third nurse, she's been our lead nurse at Pinelands and has really been inspiring, encouraging, and supportive to all of our students as well as our faculty during this time. So please join me. I'm going to make sure I pronounce her name correctly. I mess it up. She got married, so it's not that I don't know how to say her name. So please join me in recognizing Nurse Kelly Potopchik. Was Kelly Loiseau. It was much easier to pronounce before. And can we have all three nurses, please? Eric, come on up. Yeah, we can take a quick one. Where's Eric? All right, smile. It's okay. Thank you. Thank you again for all of your efforts.
Gina, are you doing the next one or Janelle? Janelle? Hi, Janelle.
Hi, good evening. I'm Janelle Gonzalez. I'm now the Director for School-Based Youth Services. However, I just wanted to give a moment of appreciation to the outgoing director, Karen Kenny, known as EY. We did have a big celebration for her on Friday, last Friday. And I just want her to know, and the Pinelands community to know, that she was very instrumental in continuing great services within our department. And that, you know, she's going to be some tough shoes to fill, but I'm up for the challenge. So, you know, part of what makes school-based really strong, successful, really and truly are the people in it. And, you know, she was at the helm for quite some time. So best wishes and congratulations to Karen. Thank you.
That's it. Okay. Moving on. Moving on to board work session. We have first board forum. Board members like to speak? Nothing. Okay. Any new business?
So we do have our school parent communication committee that was formed. I know some of you did express interest in that to Mr. Dalio. So we have a small committee. I know that Ms. Canadella is going to be leading that committee. I did send out that survey that we talked about to all of the parents. I had a very good response rate, and I got a lot of information about methods of communication, things I'd like to see done. I think the next step would be that that small committee can find a date to meet, and I could sit with them and we could kind of dissect that and go through it and see what the next steps would be. But I'll reach out to Kim. She had something this evening, but I'll reach out to her to see when she and the other committee members would like to come in, and we can move forward with that.
Mr. Brown, I think we have a board budget committee discussion.
Yep, I just want to put this on everybody's radar. It's hard to believe that we're already talking about the 22-23 budget. But I want to make you'll notice on the agenda this evening is a budget plan of action, which outlines the steps the Board of Education takes to develop and approve their annual budget. If any member of the board wishes to sit on that committee, we welcome your participation. And then after the elections in December, we'll open that up to any new members of the board who might want to join then. Are there any questions about the budget plan of action or the responsibilities of committee members beforehand? Or the responsibilities? So it's typically, the meetings are about an hour long. We try to keep them to about 3 meetings per budget cycle, where we review in the beginning some departmental expenses for the budget managers, then revenue projections, and then finally the final budget before it's put to the full board for approval. I would say the time commitments somewhere between 3 and 4 hours total for the committee, and that would be run from mid to late December until early April.
I would say, I served on a committee for trying to make this breakdown about getting the information beforehand. So it's subject to the committee. Timeline laid it out, but like 1 or 2 in January, 1 or 2 in February.
And then as needed from the committee's discretion there, but we try to cram a lot into that hour where we're looking at a pretty comprehensive review of either revenues or expenditures for that period. So if you're interested, you don't need to commit right now, but just shoot me an email and we'll formalize the committee's membership, hopefully at the October meeting.
Great, thank you, Ms. Brown. I only have 2 things for board update. I'm sure everyone received an email from a parent, a document saved, person not pleased with the mask mandate from the governor. That letter has been sent over to our attorneys so they can review it, and get back to her. You also saw last month, I drafted a letter, started on August 26th. The completed draft was then sent to the board and is now in the governor's department. They do have it, they have the letter. And it basically, the letter expresses our desire to be able to make those decisions at a local level as far as COVID, mask wearing, and who can come in, whether it be an option. Right now, it's a state mandate. The governor does not give the ability or the responsibility to the board or the administration to make that call. We feel that it should be looked at because a state mandate is not the same. You can't blanket the entire state because our demographic, our population is far different than the counties in northern New Jersey. So he has it. Other counties in southern New Jersey, boards of education have also expressed their concerns about this. So it's basically like I guess you could say a coalition that we're banding together to try to let the governor know that these decisions should be made local. We should have freedom to make those decisions. So that's sent up there. We'll see what happens with that. Secondly, briefly, recently there was some chatter on social media, something about an investigation that was ongoing in Pinelands. It was an in-house investigation. The board is not going to entertain getting back and having discussions with self-absorbed people that like to get on social media and make claims and allegations that are unfounded. However, with that said, an investigation was completed. The findings in the the findings in the investigation, although they did not rise to the level of a law breaking, it did rise to the bar set for ethics violations and above. So that's being looked into, and we're going to move on with that. Thank you. That's all I have for a president's update. Old business, feasibility study, please.
So I'll let Nick finish typing before he jumps in and gives an update on that. But along the lines of our feasibility study and consolidation, I was asked to speak last week on a panel with Lucille Davy, 2 of the consolidation czars for the state, and a senator, as well as the moderator. And it just went very well. They had so many nice things to say about the work that we're doing. There was over 100 people on the webinar that were able to ask questions and, specific to their area, their district, but we're very appreciative of the feedback that we gave and the work that we're doing here. So it was a nice experience. And once again, I feel that it's positive press for us down in Southern Ocean County. So I was happy to have that opportunity.
Yeah, we really have. At the business office, we get contacted fairly frequently from other districts who are looking into feasibility, consolidation, regionalization, and we provide the resources that we've developed as the board, and Jonathan and I have worked on compiling all this information, and we share it with other districts who are starting this process of exploring it. So we had some early mover advantage on that one. And I wanted to provide everybody with an update on the final feasibility study from Porzio. So since our last update, a draft of all 3 sections has been completed, and there were some delays in the financial section. And I'm sure everybody's aware, Senator Sweeney introduced legislation back in March that would establish a method for the revision of state aid awards in connection with any school district considering consolidation. So as that legislation will have an effect on the draft study and its conclusion, Porzio has been in contact with Senator Sweeney's office and has been waiting to see if this legislation is signed by the governor as written and what impact it will have on the final report. But as it appears that the governor is not going to sign this legislation soon, Porzio has begun putting the final sections together, and they anticipate this report coming to us Just trying to find the date. By the end of September. So we realize this is getting pushed back a couple of months, but it is with good cause that most recently there's legislation being pushed by Senator Sweeney's office that's directly going to impact the analysis they're performing. So they want to see what impact that legislation may have before they issue a final report. Because if they issue that report and then that legislation is passed, we then have the additional expense of going back and getting them to update that report to reflect that new legislation. Does that make sense? So that is it for the feasibility study.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
So Nick, I know that you shared it, and I think everyone should know with the other districts,
Yep.
and not only the district admins representatives, but the board representatives, so kind of we're all in this together.
Yep.
Will there be, once we get the financial piece, will there be another meeting to kind of bring this together?
Yeah, that's the plan. And we have a consumable to digest at the end that we bring the group back together and discuss that report. The idea would be to first push it out before that group gets together, just so we have a chance, because it's going to be a extensive document. So we'll push that out to those committee members prior to bringing that group back together. Then that group will get together and discuss that report, and then that information will be disseminated to the public and the full boards of education.
All right, moving on to residents forum, agenda items only. Board policy 0167 encourages community participation in every meeting. However, the board requests that the public respect a reasonable time limit when commenting on agenda items. Would anyone from the public like to speak on agenda items? Seeing no one. Committee reports. Recommend motion to approve the instructional items A1 through A6. May I have a motion?
So made.
Any questions? Roll call, please.
Yeah, discussion, not
Oh, I'm
question,
sorry.
discussion. First off, thank you. There's a number of policies listed. It was nice that the board got them all and had a chance to review them. I am hoping that maybe with regard to item P, the conduct of board meetings. I know when the board initially got together, a lot of time and research went into that. We had a number of meetings. I wanted feedback from the group and maybe to request if we could table that and maybe have that as a topic for next session. Make sure everybody's got an opportunity to review the changes that are being recommended and review.
Yeah, so that policy, the one change we're suggesting is to eliminate every agenda, we have something on that we approve the agenda as part of the agenda. There was some discussion that that's not required that we approve the agenda on the agenda, that agenda that we operate under for the meeting is the board's agenda. To amend that or to make changes would allow us less procedure. You know, we normally amend the agenda, we say, motion to amend the agenda to include, then we vote on the motion to amend the agenda, and then we vote to amend the agenda. So if we remove the approval of the agenda, we take the formality of having to motion and adopt those motions if we need to make changes to the agenda. And that came up recently where we had a number of items that moved on an agenda. This was at Little Lake Harbor, but the board's attorney at the time recommended that we were one of only 2 districts that they worked with where we have approval of the agenda as an agenda item, and suggested it would be easier to remove that requirement. But we can't just take it off because it's part of policy. So we brought the policy up for review and consideration that we remove approval of the agenda from future agendas.
So that's good discussion. I'm glad to hear the perspective on that. But that's not the only change. It's shown on here. So I just, if we could just maybe step back. I know there was some trouble in delays, at least for me, with getting access to it. Just if I would ask everybody to look at it and we could have a short discussion.
How many are you talking about? Okay.
It's 0164. I don't think there's an issue with tabling that one until next month.
It's
not
only
like-
one.
It's not like a dire thing.
Yeah,
that's-
it's not urgent.
Yeah,
It was
that's-
something we put on.
Absolutely.
So we'll table that and we'll
So
have
we're gonna
discussion.
table 0164.
Any more questions from the board?
That next page first.
Yeah, I'm giving this time.
We got our first, we got our second. This is a roll call vote. Mrs. McVeigh,
Yes.
Ms. Martin. Ms. Pop. Pakua,
Yes.
Fagan.
Yes.
Bartlett. Yes. Mr. Dowling.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Moving on to personnel, recommend motion to approve the following personnel items B1 through B11. May I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
Any questions? Roll call.
Mrs. McVeigh,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. Pakua,
Yes.
Ms. Fagan.
Yes.
Mr. Bartlett. Yes. Mr. Delia.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Operations, recommend motion to approve the following operations items C1 through C7. May I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
Any questions? Roll call.
Mrs. McVeigh,
Yes.
Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. Pakua,
Yes.
Ms. Fagan.
Yes.
Mr. Bartlett. Yes. And Mr. Delia.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Report of the report of the board secretary and business administrator. Recommend motion to approve the report of the board secretary, business administrator on items D1 through D15. May I have a motion?
Second.
Okay. Any questions?
Yes, maybe on item 15. Extraordinary aid, part 5, I believe that was in excess of what
It
we
is.
planned, or just I thought that we did not.
That is, it's, I don't recall the exact numbers of the budget and the revenue, but we anticipated about $600,000 in extraordinary aid this year, in this year's budget. We are very pleased and thank you for your hard work on this. Ms. Erin Lichtenwalder, our Director of Special Services. We love when we exceed revenue projections. Just so everybody's aware, the extra money that's above what we anticipated in revenue, we cannot use in this budget cycle. It can then, we can, in next year's budget, we can increase our revenue projections from this source, and we'll have that money to use in next year's budget. Are there any other questions? So roll call vote. Mrs. McVeigh,
Yes, on all items, I will abstain from any bills that pertain to shared services.
your abstentions noted. Ms. Martin,
Yes.
Ms. Pakua,
Yes.
Ms. Fagan,
Yes.
Mr. Bartlett. Yes. Mr. Delia.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Moving on to residents forum, general topics. Board policy 0167 encourages community participation in every meeting. However, the board requests that the public respect a reasonable time limit when commenting on any topic. Anyone from the public like to speak? Seeing no one, and move on to board forum. Mrs. McVeigh?
I'd like to welcome everybody back, the students, the teachers. Congratulations on a good, successful opening, and have a good night.
Thank you. Mrs. Fagan? Ms. Fagan?
Just not saying I had a great opening. I'm so happy to be back in school. Hopefully it continues.
Ms. Martin?
It's been a great and exciting start, also lots of smiles, but again, to thank everyone, but also the school bus drivers that really are phenomenal.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Happy September. Here we go.
No, here we go.
Saying good to be back, hearing nothing but a positive buzz from my neighbors and community, so that's always good. So thank you to the admin team and the staff to help get the kids back to school. Parents and students are excited.
It's great. I just, all I can do is echo that. Welcome 2021-22. Let's rock it. I have nothing to say, really. You have a motion of adjournment.
So, hey.
All ayes?
We need a second.
I didn't get a second. Okay. All ayes. All nays? Abstains? Thank you.
And a reminder to the general public that the next regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Education is Tuesday, October 12th. Regular session begins at 6 p.m. Thanks for joining us and have a great night.